Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are doing good. In today's video, we are going to be talking about The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. It is a horror slash thriller, murder mystery, crime thriller, whatever, all of those genres. I got done reading this book last night and it's almost been 24 hours since I have got done reading this. And now I am in a position to talk about it. I don't normally finish a book and then sit down to film a video because I like to let my thoughts simmer down and sort of come to terms with the story and how I like the entire thing. But this is definitely the earliest that I have ever been in filming a video because I just wanted to talk about this book. And also I have realized that if I give too much time in making reviews after reading the book, then my thoughts are all over the place and I sometimes have a hard time recollecting them. Let's get that out of the way. Now let's talk about this book. So this was actually my first ever horror read. Going into this book, I didn't know that it was a horror and I don't know why. I had a slight clue to the fact that this might have some haunting things and horror things in it, but even then I was like, maybe it's just creepy, maybe it's just thrill, it doesn't say it out loud that it is a horror. Anyway, so before I get on with how I felt about the book and what was my thought process, let me just give you a quick recap and a quick summary of the novel. So basically the novel is taking place in two time periods. One is in 1982 and one is happening in 2017. In 1982, there is this person called Vivian Delaney, or Viv in short. She's working as a night clerk in Sundown Motel. And that motel is if weird things happen during, especially in night, those things are related and connected with something else that has happened in the town. So this entire story is taking place in Fell, New York. So Viv Delaney, our protagonist of 1982, she used to live someplace else, but then she had a falling out with her family and she moved to Fell and decided that she is going to start working at the Sundown Motel because that's where she could find the vacancy. So all of a sudden in November 1982, Viv disappears. No one knows where she went and no one really pushes the police to find her because no one really cared about her because she is obviously, first of all, a newbie in the town. Secondly, her parents didn't really care that much about her. Fast forward to 2017, the different time period. Our protagonist is Carly and she is the niece of Viv Delaney. And she has lived her entire life knowing the fact that her mother had a sister who disappeared and she really hated the fact that no one really put any effort in finding her aunt. So she decides that she is gonna be that person who is going to uncover the mystery of her aunt. So she moves from someplace else to Fell, New York, and out of luck, out of whatever, she finds a vacancy at the Sundown Motel and decides to apply as the night receptionist. So both of our protagonists work at the same place, and surprisingly, not surprisingly, she also witnesses some weird things happening at the Sundown Motel during the night hours. So that's the basic premise of this story. What I loved about this novel, first of all, kudos to Simone St. James for writing this novel in a way that kept me hooked. I was hooked from the beginning, first of all. The moment I chose this book to read, it was nighttime. After I wasn't even done with the first chapter, I just read the first page and I was like, okay, maybe I should start reading this tomorrow morning. So I was creeped out. Personally, my horror tolerance is at the bottom. I cannot handle horror at all. I can't see horror movies. I can't see even a glimpse of horror going on the screen. So it was an experience reading this novel. But the next morning when I started reading this, I was hooked from the beginning, and this is a sort of mystery which kept me hooked till the end. And if I was not reading the book, I was constantly thinking about it. When I was reading the book, I just wanted to turn a page and read it and then turn the next page and read it. It hasn't happened in such a long time. I don't know, the way this novel had me gripped in its story and in the entire ambience, it hasn't happened in a long time, and I really, really enjoyed that. I remember as a kid, I would get so immersed in the story that I would just forget about all the work that I had to do and just focus on that one story, and I kind of missed that. So the Sundown Motel brought that back for me. I got done with this book in 3 days, and that has been the fastest that I have read probably this year, because I was stalling a lot this year. Every chapter sort of ends at a cliffhanger. I know, like, for TV shows it's pretty common, and people say that they shouldn't be ended, like the season shouldn't be ended on a cliffhanger. People usually say that if you leave a season on a cliffhanger, you are like baiting the audience into coming back to watch the next season instead of them coming back to watch the next season because they like the show that much, you know. It's kind of silly, I know, but in a novel it's pretty okay, because a cliffhanger does not mean that you have to wait for months and months to read the next chapter. You can just read the next chapter at your own pace. So for me, cliffhangers in a novel, they work great, but cliffhangers in a series, book series, it doesn't work for me, because then I will have to obviously wait for the next few years maybe for the book to come, or maybe months, I don't know. But anyway, I enjoyed the cliffhangers in this novel. Every single thing that's been mentioned in this novel, from the characters to the plot to the murder mysteries, everything is just so perfectly done, and everything flows so smoothly. In my opinion, a perfect mystery should be written like this. Should be written in a way that the audience, that the reader reading the book comes back to it. When the reader is not reading the book, they are constantly thinking about the mystery that is going on in the story. So if I had made this video yesterday, I wouldn't have told you about the negatives of this book, or the things that I didn't like. But now, as my thoughts have sort of settled down, I will tell you the things that I didn't like. This might be a spoiler, so if you haven't read the novel, I would suggest just stopping this video. But if you have already read the novel, please do continue watching and let me know your thoughts in the comments below about this. So first of all, let's talk about horror. As I told you in the beginning, my tolerance for horror is really low, and I never really imagined myself reading horror, because I never imagined myself watching a horror movie. So for this book to be a horror, I don't think that it has got real horror thingy in it, because I read it, but I didn't really feel overly scared. I felt creeped out at certain points, but it wasn't overly scary for me. Maybe I have two theories about this. The one theory is, when we are watching a movie, everything is very vivid, and everything, you don't have, like, your mind is not trying to create a picture, rather the picture is already created for your mind. So it's really easy to get scared while watching a movie. Whereas while reading a book, your mind is constantly working and trying to create the image of what you are reading. So I think that slows down the process of imagination, and not only that, like, your brain is taking time to process things. But then on the other hand, I imagine things very vividly when I'm reading. Like, even when reading the scary bits, my mind couldn't imagine those things from the perspective of watching all the horrors that I have seen. And I don't know the exact reason for that. Number one is the writing sloppy for the horror bit. Number two is my tolerance high, as opposed to me thinking that it's low. I don't think that's the case. And number two, like, coming to the mystery part in the novel, the actual person who committed the crime, who was the murderer, who was the person behind all the murders that were happening in the 1980s, I don't know, like, the ending sort of felt really sloppy. The ending didn't have that impact. For me, personally, a murder mystery should have the sort of ending where you are literally shocked when you end the novel. Simon Hess was the person behind all the killings, but I don't know, his character and like how Viv stalked that guy and how she came to all the conclusion, that thing just went on and on for literally half the book. So there was no question in my mind what if Simon Hess is not the murderer. I was like, if the author is spending so much time on this one character, and like our protagonist is so obsessed with this person, there's no way that Simon Hess is not involved in all these murders. Even though towards the end, at the like really end, when Viv, like, it was the last night when she killed him, there was Robert White as well there. So I thought maybe, like, the way he was grabbing Viv's neck and stuff, I really thought maybe Robert is the one who was behind. But then on the flip side, I was like, no, it couldn't be, because I don't know his character, you know? Like, we are at the very end. I don't think that this unknown character is gonna be the murderer. That entire revelation of the murderer it didn't leave any impact on me. It didn't leave me shocked, is what I'm gonna say. And thirdly, I did not like the reunion of Viv and Carly. They met after all these years. Viv was keeping an eye on her. She even talked to her on the phone. She left her notebook for her in the vending machine. And like they met in such a normal way. I know that like they obviously didn't have any connection between them, but Viv knew well Carly, right? She knew that she was looking into the case. And it's still like the reunion felt really cold. If I met my aunt after so many years, yes, it would be an awkward meeting, but I don't know, there would also be sort of like a connection, a bond, especially from my side. Like if I was Carly and I had spent so many days obsessing over this person, I would obviously, I don't know, feel a connection with them after meeting them. But apart from that, I really enjoyed reading this novel, and I also loved the characterization of all the people. It felt like such a big community, and like the way they were really helping out each other and the way they were looking out for each other, it really felt nice. It felt amazing to read. Especially I loved the relationship between Carly and Heather, her roommate. Even though I was second guessing Heather's character, I was like, does she have any ulterior motives? And then I was second guessing Nick's motives, because what Alma Trent said, I never second guessed. I sort of second guessed Callum as well. The way he turned and the way he said, okay, his revelation was something that I was shocked about, because that was so unexpected. Okay, so I give this book a 4 out of 5. I thoroughly enjoyed reading it. It was an experience and it was such a fun ride. If you are into murder mysteries, definitely give this book a read. If you're into horror, there is not much going on, I would say. With that note, we have come to the end of this video. If you like the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. If you want to follow me on my socials, the links are in the description, and I will see you guys in the next video, inshallah. Till then, take care. God bless you. Assalamu alaikum. Bye.